Hello and welcome to Tapping Tips Tuesday. My name is Katie Walker. I'm an EFT, Emotional Freedom Techniques trainer, mentor and practitioner. And I wanted to share a cheeky little story with you today. And it really links with what I have been doing in the past number of weeks about showing up and using our voice. And I wanted to talk to you about how I used to be able to manage the fears, the anxious feelings, the worries, the nerves, when I hadn't worked on my stuff. And the strategy that I had was alcohol. I used to drink a lot. And when I was going out into a social setting, not so much with like close friends, but wider groups of people where I might not have known individuals, or if there was a big function where I might be having to say a little speech, whether it was a wedding or a birthday, because I do like my cheeky little speeches. I would use alcohol to be able to get that courage up. And I haven't been drinking now for a couple of years, and I've made that decision because it wasn't working for me, and it was very much part of my life, and it was taking over my life, and I knew that was a path that was getting darker and darker and darker. Made the decision to not drink anymore as a side note, but I did use alcohol to work with those emotions that showed up when I was going to use my voice in some way, shape or form. And so I wanted to be able to talk to you about the healthy ways, not using alcohol, to actually unpack what's underneath the surface, because I'm all about being able to show up, doing, being, experiencing and seeing life as you want it, and living a life that you would love, and making wise choices about how to support that. And so I do have a program coming up. I've got a couple of programs actually coming up which may be of interest to you. So one is actually going the month without alcohol, so Dry July, and I created this program with my beautiful colleague, work wife, Jules Vandermaat. So we pulled this program together 2 years ago, which was when I stopped drinking. Jules had already stopped for a month or two prior, maybe 3 months prior to us creating the program, but we realized, damn, alcohol is problematic in so many women's lives, and it's so enriched in our culture. And it was such a beautiful opportunity to pull together this program that allowed for an understanding of what alcohol means, how it impacts and has this toxic connection in so many parts of our lives. But when we've been drinking and it's just what we do and it's a behavioral thing, we formed this program to highlight the need to know part about what alcohol is, what it does to the body, and then our secret sauce being emotional freedom techniques to really work with what's underneath the surface. So there's that program. Then there is also the Breaking Through to Fearless Speaking, which is in collaboration with my awesome coach and friend and colleague, Patricia Campbell. And so the two marry beautifully. So we work out how to break through to that fearless voice. We get your alcohol management in place, and then you can show up being, doing, loving who you are, and not shrinking or not feeling like you have to have alcohol to be able to have those tough conversations or to be able to perform or do, because we have those coping strategies. I have this shitty feeling, how do I deal with it? Oh, I'm going to have a drink of alcohol, that's going to calm my nerves. But the actuality of that is that's not really what does happen at a physiological level. And then the connections we make with alcohol as a result of experience. So I'm wanting to share that with you and give you a little slice of what it might look like if you were to go, I'm going to do this month without alcohol. Because a month without alcohol, people go, oh, I could do that. But it could be a month without alcohol where you're feeling like you're actually missing part of you, and you're feeling resentful because you may choose to not go out where there's alcohol, or, there's a lot that we create with that connection with alcohol. So having support for a month to give yourself some distance away from it, to be able to then go, do I want to continue on without alcohol, or can I make some decisions about how it's going to look moving forward? When we have enough, when we have enough space and we bring things to our conscious awareness, we can then do something about it. So I'm suggesting that join this program for a month, learn more about what alcohol is, what it's doing to the body, what the long-term impacts are. And it can be scary. I think I didn't fully appreciate what it all meant. And then Jules and I, through our process of creating this program, went, oh, okay, that's not cool. But then again, putting other strategies, resources, what can we do to, if we're not drinking, what else can we do? If I'm feeling this feeling, what can I do to manage this feeling? And because we don't want that the behavior of drinking be the need to suppress or to not feel. So there's those two programs. And as a little slice of what it would look like if you were doing the Dry July, what we could work on in that very supportive, confidential, sacred space in that group where you feel like you're not alone, there's no judgment, no shame, no embarrassment, because that's what we can feel a lot of. But one of the things that we would work on is thinking about if you choose to drink to take the edge off because you might have a little bit of social anxiety, thinking about going to this particular event, XYZ event, and not drinking, what do you notice comes up? So we always have a moment in time, whether it be a past event or a future event, and we talk very clearly about what that might look like. What's in the mind's eye? What are we seeing? I'm walking into this room, all these unfamiliar faces, I'm in this social scene, and I'm shitting myself. Okay, our mind doesn't know the difference. That hasn't even happened yet, but we have this reaction in us. Our little nervous system starts to activate. And so that's how we would do the tapping in the group. It would be thinking about a future event or something that you've recently went to where you didn't drink or you did drink and there was some sort of outcome from drinking. We'd work on the future stuff, the past stuff, thinking about missing out, coming home from work and not drinking and having to deal with the kids, the husbands, being alone on the weekend. Well, I drink when I'm alone. That's my comfort zone. That's my comfort. And my little glass of winos or beer or my spirit is who I turn to for some comfort. So we tap on all those things. But to give you that example, going back to thinking about that event, walking in and not knowing anyone, and I can't drink, how do I feel about that now? Well, I feel anxious, or I feel nervous, or I feel worried. What is the emotion that's showing up in the here and now? Remember, we always rate it 0 to 10. 10 being intense, 0 being I don't feel that. And so say it's 5, thinking about this event in the future, going to this function, don't know anyone. I'm not going to be able to drink. Everyone else is drinking, but I'm not going to be able to drink, which I know is my go-to to calm my nerves. I'm feeling anxious about that. And where do I feel that in my body if I feel that somewhere in my body? Oh, I'm feeling it in my chest, or I'm feeling it in my stomach, or I'm feeling it in my solar plexus. Just notice, is it showing up somewhere in your body? And so this is what it would look like. Even though I feel anxious in my chest, just thinking about going to that function, XYZ, I'm not going to know anyone, and then I can't have a drink to take the edge off. That's just making me feel anxious. But I can still deeply and completely accept myself. And even though I feel anxious in my chest, just thinking about going to that event and walking in and not knowing anyone, I do not know any of those faces, and then I can't drink, I'm not going to have a drink to take the edge off, I'm feeling nervous, anxious, sorry, I feel anxious in my chest, but I can still deeply and completely accept myself. And even though I feel anxious in my chest, thinking about going to that event, walking in and not seeing a familiar face, I don't know anyone, and not drinking, how am I going to feel okay? That makes me feel anxious, but I can still deeply and completely accept myself. And then we go from the side of the hand to the top of the head, feeling anxious. Side of the eyebrow, feeling anxious. Side of the eye, feeling anxious in my chest. Under the eye, feeling anxious. Under the nose, I feel anxious. Under the lip, I feel anxious in my chest. Collarbone, feeling anxious. And then under the arm, feeling anxious in my chest. And then we come back to the side of the hand, just feeling your body in the chair, thinking about that event, XYZ event. I walk in, don't know any faces, don't know anyone. And my go-to would normally be to have a drink to calm my nerves, but I'm not going to have a drink. How does that feel? How's that anxious feeling? What do you notice? If it's still there, or it might have changed to a different emotion, but if it's still anxious, we just continue tapping with that in mind, that snapshot in time. I'm walking in, no faces. I don't know anyone, and then I can't get a glass of booze to cool me jets. And so you just keep tapping until anxious is, if it was a, maybe it started at an 8, if it went down to a 6, and then it went down to a 2, and we want to get it down to a 0 if we can. Okay, so keep doing the tapping. But that is an example, because what happens is that the neural pathways and connections are made. So even though there's this future event, there might have been an event that you've been to before where you did feel anxious walking in and no one, and you didn't know anyone, or there was no connection, or it felt awkward. Another time when, and these connections are being made, I felt shit then, and it's going to feel really bad in the future state. And so the unconscious works on those experiences that we've had in the past. So it doesn't mean you have to keep tapping on all of those times when, but what we're trying to do is calm our nervous system down. So when we do go into that situation, walk in, I don't know anyone, our body doesn't go into that activation. So then if the body's not doing that activation, you're not feeling like you need to take your drink to calm anything down, because you're not dysregulated. Now, it sounds fairly simple, but we do hold that space where we can work through that in this 1 month period, and we cover a range of topics. It's actually 6 weeks, but we do cover a range of topics to be able to really work out those times when there could be a problem. And there's the education piece, and there's also women coming together to support each other and to be that little cheering squad. And it's really, really powerful. So if you're interested, I will include the link to Dry July. I'll also include some details about breaking through to fearless speaking, because it's all kind of connected. It's all connected. And then if you want to work one-on-one with me, I'll also include my details, which you can find more information at my website, which is www.katiewalkereft.com. But I love collaboration. I love bringing people together to know that we aren't doing stuff alone. So that's really potent. And so one-on-one, yes, that's my jam as well. Of course, I love that, but I also really appreciate women supporting women, and particularly when there's an opportunity. Dry July is perfect. Give yourself a break, and know that then allows you to show up being who you want to be. Being able to say what you want to say, but not having to say it when you're pickled or pissy pants, I was going to say. Being able to make healthier choices for you. And there's nothing but goodness in that. So please consider it. And hopefully you'll be joining me. Take care.